Well, the Supreme Court strikes down the tariffs. Now what? Hello, friends. Welcome back. I am recording this video on Friday, February 20th, and we've just received the news that the Supreme Court ruling that the president does not have the ability to impose these wide-ranging tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA. So what happens next? Does this affect my life? Let's walk through it. So go back to April of last year, April 2025. The administration unveils its country-level tariffs. That's the important part, country level. And a group of businesses, an alliance of states as well, filed a legal challenge. In May, the next month, a U.S. Court of International Trade ruled that the president can't impose these tariffs under IEPA law. And in August, a federal appeals court affirmed the decision. This set the stage for the Supreme Court, of course, and this hearing started back in November. So we find out today it was a 6-3 ruling, and it really wasn't a surprise. The betting markets gave it about a 70% chance of the tariffs being overturned. So our firm, many others have been saying this is exactly what probably will happen. So let's break it down a little bit more. First, the litigation did not challenge the sectorial tariffs, including autos, steel, aluminum, because they were crafted under a different legal basis known as Section 232. You're going to hear about that in the future. Thus, the sectorial tariffs will remain in place, but the country level tariffs, those are the ones that are going to be going away. That accounts for the bulk of the Treasury's tariff revenue, so that's why it's a big deal. This has recently been about $30 billion per month, by the way. And this has been a great offset to the revenue lost from the big bill, the tax cuts, the Social Security tax credit, these things we've been talking about. This more than makes up for that. So if that goes away, that's a big deal. But we estimate that the current weighted average tariff rate is about 13%. And the country level tariffs, the one we're talking about now, account for more than half of that, just to give you an idea. So will we see refund checks go out? That's the next question everybody's asking. And we're talking about $175 billion worth of refund checks if it did happen. Well, today's ruling did not address the question of previously paid tariffs needing to be refunded. First of all, it'd be a paperwork nightmare. Second of all, there is precedent from 2006, our firm believes, that the courts may refrain from requiring refunds to go out. But we always look at the betting markets too. Somehow there's a 70% chance that that will happen, and those checks will go out by the end of the year. Are you going to get a check? Probably not. We'll see. So what happens now? Well, the administration has about 5 more options legally to keep the tariffs going. Some of these acts require Congress, some of them don't. Some are country specific, some are industry or sector or product specific, some are very broad based. Some even have caps on the amount. You'll hear about this. And some don't have a max. And then politics. Politics is a consideration. So most polls we see show that about 60 to 70% of people oppose tariffs for various reasons. So all that to say, what do we think is going to happen? Well, we believe that tariffs will remain intact in some form, although under a different legal label. And the average rate will continue to be similar to where it is. It has been coming down and maybe even drift lower. We could be wrong. We also think that the country level agreements will stay in place for now. The ability to have a tariff to negotiate those country level agreements didn't just disappear. So we think that the countries will keep those agreements. And that's when they negotiated various investments into this country and other things. What about corporate earnings? That's the last question. Remember, earnings were up a solid double-digit number last year, 2025. We're looking at 13, 14, 15% EPS growth, and that was with the tariffs. So we think, again, we're going to have great growth again, probably 10, 11%. Time will tell. But overall, the tariff impact on corporate earnings has been a bit overblown. It's probably not going to matter that much. The bottom line, our economist is looking for GDP growth around 2.5%, 2.4% for 2026 for this year. So this news on tariffs doesn't really change that number so far. We'll see. Hope that was helpful. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.